Welcome to a new video on programmable logic controllers. In this video, we are going to discuss about introduction and architecture of PLC. So these are the contents that will be covered in this video. We start with the definition of PLC, followed by the comparison between PLCs, relays, and computers, and then we'll discuss about the architecture of PLC. So what is a PLC? A programmable logic controller can be defined as a digitally operating electronic device that uses a programmable memory. What is the purpose of memory? For the storage of instruction. So why should we store instruction? For the implementation of functions such as logic, sequencing, timing, counting, and arithmetic in order to control various types of machines and processes. So especially PLC has been designed to make programming easy. So comparing PLC and relays, definitely PLC has got many advantages over relays. So let's see some of the advantages of PLC over relays. Programming of PLC is easier when compared to relays. Relay programming require complex wirings. Similarly, a control system using PLC can just be modified by reprogramming the PLC. Whereas if you want to modify a control system which uses relays, then you have to rewire all the connections to the input and output devices, which is a bit difficult. PLC occupies less space when compared to relay control panels. PLCs are faster than relay systems, and installation and maintenance of PLC is also easier. Similarly, PLC systems have got greater reliability. Next, comparing PLC with computers, if you see, PLCs are rigid and can withstand vibration, sound, and electrical effect. So this makes PLC suitable for industrial environment, whereas computers have got many moving parts such as like cooling fans, hard disk, etc. So it is less suitable for environment with vibrations. And in terms of ease of use, even technicians with less knowledge about the hardware and software can handle and operate a PLC, whereas computers can be operated only by persons skilled in the software knowledge. Programming part, the most common programming method used in PLC is ladder program and instruction list. We have other programs also like structured text, function block, diagrams, and sequential functions, charts, etc. And power supply, like interruption of power supply or flickering of supply will not affect your program and the storage of the program or data in PLC. Whereas interruption of power supply or flickering of these supply will affect the program and leads to loss of data in the computers. So having said this, we can see that PLC is like has got many advantages over computers also, especially for industrial applications. This diagram shows the architecture of PLC. So if you look at the diagram, you can see that the PLC has got only three major components. One is CPU, the other one is memory. So memory, we have RAM and ROM, and then the other one is the input output unit. So all these blocks are connected by means of bus, and they are connected to the input output systems also. So CPU, memory, and input output interfaces are the three main components of a PLC. Coming to CPU, CPU is considered to be the heart of the PLC. So it is responsible for controlling and processing all the operations within the PLC. The CPU is provided with a clock with a frequency typically between like 1 and 8 megahertz. It is this frequency of the clock that determines the operating speed of the PLC, and it also provides the timing and synchronization for all the elements in the system. Next, coming to memory. So we have two types of memory, read-only memory, that is ROM, and random access memory, that is RAM. So read-only memory is used for the permanent storage of operating system and for the fixed data that is used by the CPU. So in this memory, we will not be able to write anything. We can only read the data that is present in the memory. Whereas random access memory, that is used for the storage of users, program, and data. Which data we can store, like data like input and output addresses, status of the input and output devices, values of timers and counters, etc., can be stored in the random access memory. The next is input and output interfaces. So these input and output units act as the interface between the system and the outside world. So the controller receives the information from the input devices and sends the information to the output devices. The input and output interfaces, they does the isolation, signal conditioning functions, so that all the sensors and actuators can be connected to the PLC without the need for any other circuitry. So what are some of the input devices? So PLC can receive input from like temperature sensor, force sensor, liquid level sensor, pressure sensor, etc. And it can give output to solenoid valves, motor coils, etc. So in most of the situations, it's like necessary to isolate the circuits completely and remove all the electrical connections between them. So this electrical isolation from the external world is usually done by using opto-isolators. What is an opto-isolator? In an opto-isolator, we have an LED and then we have a phototransistor. So when a digital pulse when passes through the light emitting diode, a pulse of infrared radiation is produced, and this IR radiation will fall on the phototransistor. When the phototransistor detects this radiation, it gives rise to a voltage in the circuit. So instead of directly connecting our input devices to the PLC, we are connecting by means of an opto isolator. So we will give power, the input device will give power to LED which will produce light, and that light falls on phototransistor, and the phototransistor will give power to the PLC. So the range of inputs available with PLC is 5 volt, 24 volt, 110 volt, 240 volt, etc. But to make the input voltage compatible with the microprocessor, a signal conditioning unit is available in the input channel. It converts the input voltage into a digital signal with a level of 5 volt direct current. And the output to the output unit will be a digital signal of 5 volt. We have three types of output. The output can be a relay type, a transistor type, or a triac type. Relay type, so in the relay type, the signal from PLC is used internally to operate a relay in order to switch current through the external circuit. The advantage of having a relay type is it isolates the PLC from external circuit, and it can be used for both DC and AC switching. The disadvantage of relay type is it is relatively very slow to operate. Coming to transistor type, the transistor type of output uses a transistor to switch current through the external circuit. It is faster than relay type, but it can be used only for DC switching. And the last one is triac type. So obviously it uses triac to switch the current, and this can be used to control external loads which are connected to a AC power supply. Now we have seen in detail about all the three blocks like CPU, memory, and input output units. Now to carry information and data between these blocks, we need bus system. Okay, so we have four bus systems, that is data bus, address bus, control bus, and input output system bus. The data bus, as the name suggests, the data bus carries the data to be processed or a processed data. And address bus, so in a PLC, every memory location it has got a unique address. So this address bus will carry the information indicating which address is to be accessed. Control bus is used to carry timing signals to synchronize action and control signals from the CPU to various components of PLC. Finally, input-output system bus is used for communication between the input and output ports and the input and output units. So in order to remember this diagram, you can remember first we need a CPU. So first draw the CPU block. And the CPU has a clock. First we'll draw the CPU and clock block. And then the next component is memory. Memory, again, we have two types of memory. One is ROM and RAM. So ROM is used to store the system data. RAM is used to store data and the user program. So we'll draw two RAM. One is for user program, other one is for data. And finally, you have input output unit. And to power all these things, we have a battery. Okay. Next, we have to draw the buses. So first we'll draw the address bus, control bus, and data bus. So address will be indicated only by the CPU. So only from the CPU, the arrow mark goes towards the address bus, whereas all other components will receive the data or will receive the signal from the CPU. So it will be towards the block for all other components. Similarly, control signal will be sent only by the CPU, and all other blocks will receive the control signal. So you have to draw the arrow mark accordingly. And flow of data, we can either take the data from all the components or we can send the data to all the components except for ROM. Only in read-only memory, we can only take the data. So here only we'll be having a single direction arrow mark, whereas in all other components, we have bi-directional arrow mark. Finally, you have input-output system bus. So the input components is connected via optocoupler or opto-isolator, and then a buffer, and then to the input-output system bus. Similarly, the output is connected to latch circuit, a driver interface circuit, and a driver. We have a program panel to feed our program. So this is architecture of PLC. So with this introduction to PLC and architecture of PLC is over. In the next video, we will see how to program a PLC. Thank you.